Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tabooty. How are you doing today? Today, as usual, I have a couple of topics to talk about. Did you hear about the 10-year-old African-American girl who got into a fight at school with another 5th grader? The young girl's name was RaNiya Wright, and she was knocked unconscious, and 2 days later she died. That was in Colleton, Colleton County, South Carolina. Isn't that sad? Her mother posted the information about her passing away on Facebook. So, of course, the police are now looking into this incident. They said that the fight occurred in the classroom. So they're looking into whether an adult, a teacher, or someone was present during the fight, and how long did it take them to respond to the injured young lady. And so we'll see, but that is so sad. And the other little girl was suspended from school. That should be expulsion. Well, it depends. Let me take that back. It depends who started the fight. And so we'll know something further, but that is so sad. You send your child to school and expect them to return home safe. And you get a call, your child's in the hospital. And the mother is alleging that her daughter had been bullied in school. Did you see Betsy DeVos, who is the Education Secretary of the United States, who is in the Trump administration, being interviewed yesterday by Congress? She was requesting a $18 million cut to the Special Olympics and wanting to receive more funding for charter schools. It was unbelievable. And I'm sure everybody is aware of Special Olympics, which provides not only, when you think of Special Olympics, you may think of just the athletic ability of children with special needs getting together, like the Olympics, and competing. But this budget cut also would affect some parts of the special education program. But Betsy DeVos, when asked by one of the congresspersons, did she know how many children would be affected by this budget cut, she did not even know. And he said, I'll tell you, 272,000 children. Shame, shame, shame. Well, one of the fantastic parts, I heard I don't know if he was the director or a spokesperson for the Special Olympics program. He was saying that there are 6,000 schools who have the Special Olympics program, and it's not just involving sports-related activities. but it's also an inclusion program that educates not only children with special needs, but other students in schools to be tolerant and inclusive of children who have special needs. But Bessie DeVos, DeVos, you all need to look it up. Bessie DeVos, her family, they report, is worth billions of dollars. They even own an NFL team, I think, in Detroit, and they have 10 yachts. One is worth $40 million. And to be fair, they say that her family does do what they call philanthropic things for people, but she is clueless. And there was a huge protest about her becoming the secretary back in 2017 when Trump nominated her, but the Senate approved her. And I remember there was one other time she was interviewed and she was asked about guns, gun violence, and guns in the school, what her opinion was. And she said, this isn't verbatim, but you can look it up. She said, I would imagine, hear me, I would imagine that someone in the school has a gun to take care of those grizzlies. She actually said that. But I understand she can't relate to those things, but that was the why she was being protested. First of all, they were saying when Trump nominated her that it should have been someone that has an education background, someone familiar with public schools and education. But she got the job. People speculate she was given the job because her family is dirt rich. And that can be the only explanation for nominating someone who does not have experience in dealing with education and schools, which could be very detrimental to children that attend schools in low-income areas where the educational system needs to be revamped anyway. How can you appoint someone who can't even relate, who has attended private schools all of their lives? Let me know what you guys think. Oh, what is so ironic, when I was getting ready to report this morning, had I did it a little early, a reporter was talking to Trump, and they asked about why were they cutting the Special Olympics budget, and Trump said that and they're not going to cut the budget. And this guy, I forgot to get his name, but he was saying that she makes $199 plus per year as the education secretary, and she donates a quarter, not a quarter, but 25% of that is donated. But all that money, they're billionaires. But I guess she said, I'm not giving it all up. I'm not working for free. I'm adding another comma to those billions. But he was also saying that I don't remember. What was I going to say? But moving on, do something fun, a fun topic that's going around YouTube. It's gone viral on Twitter. It's about Maya Angelou, an interview that she did in 1990. I don't know if she was on the Oprah Winfrey show, because you know that's her girl, was her girl, because Maya Angelou passed away many years ago. But anyway, a 14-year-old girl was going to ask Maya Angelou a question. And the reason for the viral video, the question is, how do you address an elderly person? And I'm going to have to read the interview to you. And so we're going to have like a friendly discussion about this. The girl says, I want to ask Maya her views on interracial relationships. Mrs. Angelou, I guess I should take a cue from that, says, first of all, I'm Ms Angelou. I'm not Maya. I'm 62 years old. I've lived so long and tried so hard that a young woman like you or any other should have no license to come up to me and call me by my first name. Also, because of because at the same time, I'm your mother, I'm your auntie, I'm your teacher, I'm your professor. Maya later apologizes to the young girl for being short with her. But Maya goes on to say, it just caught me off guard. Now, picture this. You're in the audience on the Oprah Winfrey show, and you're the 14-year-old girl that stands up to ask that question. And Ms. Maya Angelou responds the way that I just told you. So what do you think? Do you think Ms. Maya Angelou was being rude? A lot of people, they say on the internet, it sparked different reactions. A lot of people thought that she was being really rude to the young lady, and she embarrassed her in front of the audience, and not to mention the TV audience. And Oprah has had millions of viewers. And I could imagine also she probably told all of her friends and relatives that she was going to be on the Oprah Winfrey show. Again, I'm assuming it was Oprah's show. And some questions that were asked. Do you think Maya Angelou was disrespecting the girl, but making it clear how she wanted to be addressed? Another question. Has the black community got away from demanding young people address them as Mr. or Mrs.? Another question was, do you think it's disrespectful to address an elderly person by their first name? Another question, do you think it's disrespectful to respond to an elderly person by saying, yeah, what? And I'm sure all of us have experienced that when you're talking to your children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, a student in your class, a neighbor, and they respond when you call them and say, yeah, what? What's so ironic about this, I was going to do a video on young people being disrespectful because I had an experience a couple of months ago in the grocery store, and I was using my cell phone to make a payment, but it wasn't working. I thought maybe it's me, maybe it's the cash register thing. And a young man, an African American man, you know how the self checkout is set up, and they have a worker that stands at the register in the middle to monitor purchases, and if something go wrong. I turned, he was right across from me. I turned around and I said, excuse me. He said, yeah. I said, I'm sorry, and I said this jokingly to him, but yet I meant it. I said, excuse me, did you say yeah to me? I would like to think I look pretty young, but this and this and this and maybe a whole lot of things says different. But anyway, I said, did you say yeah to me? Do you know this little Negro? I would say he may have been anywhere between 18 and I'm going to say 20, maybe 21. This little Negro looked at me as if to say, oh, I know you're not expecting me to apologize for saying yeah to you. And he said, what do you want? And I said, you know what? Never mind. This little brother pivoted, his little dreadlocks twirled, and he went back and stood at the register. And I kid you not. But then as I was leaving, he turned around. I could see him look at me, and I said, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to report you. And he turned back around, and I thought, you never know what's going on. He could be homeless. Maybe he needs bus money, or he didn't have gas money to get home. You don't know. He might have broke up with his little girlfriend. I don't know. And I took that into consideration. But as I was walking up, another young employee came over to the register and was talking to him, and they were just laughing and talking to each other. And then I thought, wasn't nothing wrong with this little, he just a rude little sucker with no respect. What do you all think about the scenario I gave you with Maya Angelou? You could probably pull up some old videos of, probably you can. And I believe this was in the old magazine. And like I said, because it went viral, I think I found it on yahoo.com. But what do you think about the different questions that people had? What do you think about the real life situation that I experienced in the grocery store with a young man? Not just a young man, to me even more so, a young African American young man. And what role do we as parents, grandparents, neighbors, the adults play in the way that young people address us? But I could honestly say, I know I have out of my 16 nieces and nephews, I know one of my nieces, she consistently says, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I personally don't necessarily think that people or young people should have to say, especially older teens up until their late 20s, would have to necessarily say yes ma'am, no ma'am to me. But I do think that they should be respectful and say yes, no. But I do think it would be appropriate for a very young child, when they start talking, I'll say 2.5 up to 18, that they should address an older person by saying yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. But they have to be taught. What do you think? VOTE. And if you're not registered, do so. Have a good one.